Welcome back, everyone, to your stimulus check and stimulus package update and news report for today. And we just went live. We just did my first ever live stream where I actually announced the winners of the cash giveaway for 10,000 subscribers. And if you didn't catch that live stream, it will be down below in the description. You can click that link. It's also on my channel. We just announced the 4 winners. I've already paid everyone their dues. I've already paid everyone their funds. So if you didn't know whether or not you won, well, if you didn't receive money, then that means that you did not win. Now, have no fear. Do not worry. We will be doing more cash giveaways in the short term. If we hit 20,000 subscribers pretty soon, then we'll do a couple $100s and so on. And so more cash is to be given away. Don't worry. More giveaways are to come. In fact, if you want to expedite the process to the next cash giveaway, well, all I would ask in return, if you haven't enjoyed my updates, you haven't enjoyed my videos, go ahead and just smash that like button, give the video a big thumbs up, turn that like button blue, and of course, do subscribe, click that big red button, also click the notification bell as well. That will notify you every single solitary time I do post a brand new video. And if you want to further and faster get to the next landmark, well, then you can share this video with a friend, give it to someone that you think does need this information, and we'll hit the next 20K mark, and then we'll do another cash giveaway at that time. But besides my stimulus checks being sent out, what is the latest with the government stimulus checks? And when can we expect your next stimulus check to come? Well, you'll be delighted to hear that Congress will be taking rapid action this week in order to pass Joe Biden's coronavirus relief aid proposals, including your next direct relief payment. To recap, the next batch of stimulus checks would be for $1,400 to top off the $600 payments that started going out late December. But I do know that some people have still not received their stimulus checks yet. Let me know down below in the comments if you're still waiting for your $600 stimulus check. Hopefully you will get it soon. If you have not received it yet, by now you probably will have to claim it on your 2020 tax return and claim it as a tax credit. Biden's party is in control. We have a new Senate. We have a new Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. And so this time around, stimulus checks could be passed much more smoother and much more quickly. But there are still a few challenges ahead of us. In the meantime, the Senate is now faced with an impeachment trial of now former President Trump, but that has been put on hold for a couple weeks. So President Biden has now said, because of this new delay, that it will help the coronavirus aid, quote, up and running, so that way some movement on the stimulus checks could likely come this week. So Democrats should be able to pass this bill easily through the House. That should have no problems. But the challenge is going to be in the Senate, where their margin is extremely razor thin. And even a few Democrats on the moderate end could balk at the fact that Biden wants to raise the minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour. So some Senate members are already talking about a plan B, a second option, a second route to go through if there's a struggle to pass the president's aid proposal. One of those routes is putting the $1,400 direct payment and vaccine distribution funding in a separate bill solely focusing on those two matters, and that could easily get Republican support. So that would likely win approval even among some Republicans, but there's another route that the Democrats could go. Senator Bernie Sanders is already putting this option on the table even ahead of any votes, or even before the Democrats turn Biden's proposal into an actual bill, into actual legislation. Senator Sanders is the incoming chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, and on Sunday he had said that Democrats could use a rare procedural tactic to pass major parts of COVID-19 relief if Republicans refuse to move on this measure. On CNN, he had told CNN's Dana Bash on State of the Union that Democrats will use this move, known as reconciliation, quote, as soon as we possibly can, and this would move the package by 51 votes in the Senate rather than 60 if Republicans do not move the legislation. Reminiscent of his sentiment before the holidays this past Christmas, where he fought to the bitter end to increase the number of stimulus checks from $600 to $1,200, Sanders reiterated saying, quote, what we cannot do is wait weeks and weeks and months to go forward. We have got to act now. Now, reconciliation is a process and procedure that is rare. It is rather taboo, but it has been used before, especially on the Republican side. You can recall when Republicans utilized the reconciliation process back in 2017 when they attempted to repeal and replace Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, as this was one of Trump's most prominent campaign promises. Now, that mission failed, but the GOP did successfully use this process months later to overhaul the country's tax code, which passed with just Republican votes. Sanders went on to say, highlighting the urgency of passing a new COVID relief bill under the new Biden administration, saying, quote, if we do not respond now, yes, I believe 2 years from now the Republicans will say, hey, you elected these guys, they did nothing, vote for us, and they will win. He's forecasting a political disaster in the midterm elections in 2022 and predicts that Republicans could actually take back the Senate. And then when asked Friday about senators using budget reconciliation, White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield said it was the administration's, quote, strong preference that they do not, but suggested it was a bargaining tool. She had said, our strong preference, the president's preference, what we're working toward here is bipartisan support for this bill, she had told MSNBC. Absolutely no question about it. It is urgent, and certainly if the Senate and the House keep reconciliation on the table as an option, that's understandable. She said there may be, quote, multiple ways to get to passage, but that does not mean that the president is not wholly committed to working to get Republican votes. But there are still looming questions about which parts of Biden's COVID-19 relief bill can actually pass under reconciliation. For example, some aides have raised questions about the $15 minimum wage provision, about it potentially not advancing and it potentially not meeting the criteria. But the Biden team's plan is first and foremost to try to get GOP support in passing this bill. It would be a strong message of divisiveness, especially when Biden's not even a week into his presidential term yet, to use reconciliation and get this bill passed without any GOP support. What kind of message of unity would that send to the other side, to 75 million people that voted for Trump? Biden's whole campaign was building back better and creating unity and reaching across the aisle, as he is a notorious negotiator with Republicans. In fact, he does have a relationship with Senate, now Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. But if we start to see the same political tricks and games that we saw before Biden was elected and inaugurated, and Mitch McConnell and his Republican colleagues are blocking this bill, well then Democrats would have no choice but to resort to Plan B. Democrats could attempt to do a standalone bill on vaccine distribution and stimulus checks, but remember, ever since the Georgia Senate runoff races, Democrats had extremely high ambitions of a very robust stimulus package, including most notably provisions such as much state and local government aid as possible. They want to provide tens and tens of billions of dollars to state and local aid. And on the Republican side, we recently heard from Senator Mitt Romney from Utah, and he recently called the new stimulus bill, I assume he is referring to the price tag and what is inside of it, he literally called it pretty shocking. Now, Romney did express openness to considering portions of the White House's proposal, but Fox News' Sunday's Chris Wallace asked Romney if there were any parts of Biden's plan he would consider, noting that Romney had said he was not in favor of passing another stimulus following the $900 billion stimulus bill that was signed into law in December. And Romney said, quote, I think that's very possible. We'll listen to representatives of the White House today to understand their perspective. But if there are places that we missed in our proposal, we are happy to pick that up. Romney added the president wants to extend unemployment benefits if people are still unemployed. That is certainly something we could look at. We were of the view last time that states needed help, some rescue for states and localities that may suffered a reduction in their revenues. That's appropriate, but the total figure is pretty shocking, if you will. So he's open to listening to the White House and what they have to say regarding the stimulus bill. But Romney did make it clear in the same interview that he was not in support of stopping leases for oil and gas production on federal land. He had said that obviously very badly hurt some of our rural communities, stopping the Keystone Pipeline that puts a lot of people out of work. Those people are going to be understandably angry. This is, of course, in reference to the fact that in Biden's first day in office, Biden stopped the lease on the XL Keystone Pipeline. Romney went on to say, I think it would be unrealistic to assume that Democrats and Republicans are going to see eye to eye on every issue. There are going to be differences of opinion. That's expected. But at the same time, I think it's appropriate for us to have unity of purpose, unity of heart, a recognition that we respect each other and treat each other with comity, and that is something which I believe President Biden wants to see. He then added, so I think you've got to be pretty careful even recognizing the bounds of disagreement to not do things that incite a great deal of unnecessary anger. It will be interesting to see how this next stimulus bill plays out, how Democrats can promote a message of unity and try to reach across the aisle, but still get what they want to prioritize passed. Because if Republicans are not on board with anything that's in Biden's vision, well then Democrats will have no choice but to pass the bill strictly with only using Democratic support, with Kamala Harris breaking the tie. More updates and developments are to come this week as we learn how Democrats plan to introduce this bill. Maybe we'll get a draft, a proposal in our hands this coming week, as that is Nancy Pelosi's plan to fast track getting this legislation on the Congress floor. So if you did enjoy this video, if you did get value out of it, go ahead and smash the like button, give the video a big thumbs up. Also go ahead and hit the big red button, the subscribe button, hit that big red button, also click the notification bell as well. Thank you again to everyone that entered the cash giveaway. More updates and developments will come, more giveaways are to come. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.